Lochoya sampo pagyo trashi pa tuche tempe trinle yarngoda pelge drolora zampe zeparache palden lame shabla solvade Om Guru Vajradhara Sumati Munisha Sane Kar Uta Vardhanya Shri Bhadra Varsa Manya Sarva Siddhi Hum Om Guru Vajradhara Sumati Munisha Sane Kar Uta Vardhanya Shri Bhadra Varsa Om Guru Vajradhara Sumati Munisha Sane Karma Uta Vardhanya Shri Bhadra Varsa Manya Sarva Siddhi Hum Om Guru Vajradhara Sumati Munisha Sane Uta Vardhanya Shri Bhadra Varsa Manya Sarva Siddhi Hum Om Guru Vajradhara Sumati Munisha Vardhanya Shri Bhadra Varsa Manya Sarva Siddhi Hum Om Guru Vajradhara Sumati Munisha Uta Vardhanya Shri Bhadra Varsa Manya Siddhi Hum Pakyuke kudan dagi alu pakyuke sungdan dagi nga pakyuke tudan dagi tenyerme chiktu chingi alu makyuke kudan dagi alu Makyuke sungdan dagi nga Makyuke tudan dagi tenyerme chiktu chingi alu Shakyamuni Swaha Om Muni Mahamuni Shakyamuni Swaha Om Muni Mahamuni Shakyamuni Swaha Sangye Chodan Sogi Chonam Lai Chancho Pardo Dani Kyapso Che Dagi Jinso Gibe Sonam Rola Pinchira Sangye Drubra Shu Sangye Chodan Sogi Chonam La Chancho Pardo Dani Kyapso Che Dagi Jinso Gibe Sonam Rola Pinchira Sangye Drubra Shu Sangye Chodan Sogi Chonam La Chancho Pardo Dani Kyapso Dagi Jinso Gibe Sonam Ki Rola Pinchira Sangye Druparasho. Nel Buddha, nel Dharma e nel Sangha prendo rifugio fino all'illuminazione. con la pratica della generosità e delle altre perfezioni, possa io ottenere lo stato di Buddha per il beneficio di tutti gli esseri senzienti. Lai ke da luda no jeng ke runda na mi ke nanda ro kun ke ranam chi samba tham je ke de da che ten to. Buongiorno.
Good morning.
Ogni tanto
Every now and again,
dice che
it's said that
ogni situazione
every situation that we live
è un'opportunità.
is an opportunity.
Questo ogni tanto è anche un modo un po' carino di cercare di trovare l'atto positivo del momento di
Yeah, this is, every now and again we use this as a positive way to find
un'opportunità,
an opportunity
difficoltà in
in a
realtà è
difficulty.
un'opportunità. Mi ricordo benissimo un giorno che
I remember really well one day
una situazione
there was a
particolarmente
particular
difficile con alcune
difficult
persone.
situation
Loro
with a
stavano
person.
vivendo, qualcuno viene da me
They were living a really difficult
e diceva,
situation.
però
This
la
person
cosa
asked me,
buona è che
the
così si
pers-
sanno imparare.
the beautiful thing is that we need to learn.
L'ho guardato, ho
I
detto,
looked I looked at the person and said, why?
sin da quando sbagliando si impara.
Because when we make mistakes, we learn.
Io non credo che uno impari sbagliando.
I don't think that somebody learns
Piuttosto
making mistakes,
uno può imparare se sa cogliere l'opportunità che
but a
esiste.
person,
Non è detto che la debba cogliere.
so a person can learn from these mistakes.
Ogni situazione che viviamo,
Every
c'è
situation that we live,
un'opportunità in
there is
essa?
an
Sì.
opportunity,
È
yes.
detto che riusciamo a cogliere questa
And
opportunità?
it's said that we can take this opportunity, or that we're able to take this opportunity. No, it's not always said.
Vediamo. Pensiamo al nostro corpo.
Let's think about our own body.
Quando abbiamo
When we have,
solo una cosa. Se lei vuole se qualcuno ha bisogno per sentire meglio, posso anche dare delle cuffiette, che si
yeah.
sente la lingua originale.
So if you want to listen to the original language, you can wear the headphones. So Lama's just directing that.
E quindi quello che succede che cos'è? Immaginiamo il nostro corpo.
Let's imagine that our own body.
Una delle cose più importanti,
One of the most important things,
uno dei meccanismi
one of the
più
mechanisms that
importanti
our
che il
body
corpo ha,
has is pain. One of the most important mechanisms is
che il
pain.
dolore
Because
è il
pain
meccanismo nel quale il nostro corpo
is a mechanism
guarda
in
che
which our
qualcosa
body
non
says,
va.
okay, there's something that's not working here.
Se noi non avessimo il dolore,
If we didn't have
tutti
pain,
mezzi rotti, probabilmente tutti già morti.
yeah, if we didn't have pain, we'd probably already be dead.
Esistono questi bambini che
It
hanno a sua
exists.
volta
Some children
questa
have
malattia che non sentono il
this
dolore.
illness where they don't feel
Da quello che ho
pain.
potuto vedere dei documentari
I saw
così,
this on a
mi sono accorto
documentary.
che quando hanno pochi anni di età la maggioranza di cui ha chi ha questa
So
malattia è già nella sedia
these
di
children that have these
totalmente distrutti perché uno non
this
riesce a
illness
imparare
at a
come
certain age, they have lots of
non
problems
riesce a
because they can't
capire
find the limit
fin dove
of
può
their
o non può
own
andare.
body, where they can go and where they can't
Man
go.
mano che noi andiamo avanti negli anni, eccetera, quello che accade
After many years within our own bodies,
il corpo ci dà i segni
our
dicendo
body
guarda
gives us
che
signs.
fino a qui
Up
puoi
to this
fare,
point, you can go
guarda che
somewhere.
qua c'è qualcosa che non va.
Or here, maybe there's something that's not working.
Qualsiasi sintomo.
There's like a pain or a symptom.
Perciò cosa succede? Il nostro corpo ci manda i segnali molto
So
chiari.
our
In realtà,
body gives lots of
quando c'è uno
signs.
stato di squilibrio nel
When
corpo,
there's
molto spesso
not
già
equilibrium,
il corpo ci manda dei segnali.
our body gives us some basic signs.
Questo mi fa ricordare
This
un
make
aneddoto particolare, anche simpatico.
this makes me remember a time a medical friend of mine in Spain, in the emergency department, found that one day this young girl arrived in the emergency room, more or less my age. This girl said that she felt that she had appendicitis. It was an Oriental girl. Okay, because she did a... Okay, so she... Okay, so this girl had like a virtual meeting with her doctor in China and decided to come to the hospital. So the doctor said, let me see. It's a bit strange, but okay, let me see if you need to have appendicitis. She did the blood exam, there was nothing. So they said, okay, go home, there's nothing there. Then there was this, there was this issue where she didn't want to go home. She had this attack. She had this attack of like a rare form of appendicitis. If she'd gone home, maybe she would have, got really bad. So at the end, they operated her. Okay, so they took a photo and sent this to the doctor in China. What I want to say from this is our body manifests signs of what's going on with it. It depends on how well we're able to know it. But when we have a symptom that manifests, what's our tendency? Do we want to listen to what is saying and say, okay, today I feel a little bit more tired. Today I have a different taste in my mouth. Today I feel this or feel that. My appetite is a bit different. To be able to, do we read our symptoms in our body, or do we just get a headache and take a pill to make the headache go away? Our tendency is to like subdue this alarm and continue in the same mechanism that we have. Or am I wrong? Is this clear? Why do we need doctors? And I respect doctors. Principally because we're not able to listen to our own bodies. Okay, let's welcome Geshe-la. That's just come back from Malaysia. Welcome back, Geshe-la. So why do we need to go to a doctor? Because we don't know how to listen to our bodies. If we knew how to listen to our bodies, we would take the opportunity to understand that, okay, this is good for me, this is not good for me. The really interesting thing for me to observe, we have this mechanism, I don't really know how to define, or like auto-defense of like to survive. When something doesn't go for us, there's an alarm that rings. The alarm keeps ringing. It doesn't just go away, it keeps ringing to tell us. Now, How many times in our own lives have we lived in a certain situation? I talk about our internal experience principally. With many examples, different examples, but situations in which, like moments where we don't feel like we don't have faith, it's enough to see certain difficulties that repeat within our own lives. I don't know if this has ever happened to you, to have a certain difficulty. You change the situation, but then you find the same situation, the internal situation. You can change like the color, form, but the essence is the same. This has happened to me. I put in a big effort to change the situation where I wasn't good, and then like a magic after I changed the situation. It's like it looked like the changing the situation was the solution, but it transformed into the previous problem. It's like that situation returned. It kept returning. I don't know if you've seen this within your own lives. A little while ago, I had a certain situation a few months ago that made me reflect upon something. That when we have, how can I say this? I'm going to go directly to the point. When there's something within us that isn't within harmony, it could be a trauma, or something that we experienced in the past, like emotional, mental level where we're not good. We do the same things as the symptoms. The same way that we have the symptoms within our body that show us that not good for our body, we have the symptoms of our mind which show that it's not good for our own mind. In the psychology, there's a certain way of saying this, but I'm not the best person to talk with these psychological terms. But the point is that when we have a trauma, our tendency is to live this trauma and recreate this situation, and we keep reliving this situation, and we recreate this trauma again. There's many classic situations where a person like got out of violence, situation of violence, and they put themselves into another situation of violence after. And there's many different examples. It's like there's something that doesn't go, but we need to face it. And at this point, it depends whether we take the opportunity that there is, or we just reinforce this. Therefore, when we're in a situation in general, the thing that it looks like to me, we go there to take, obviously we live the situation through our own experience and our mind and our emotion and our own being. Inevitably, the situation comes through that. But the interesting thing to see really is there's something within us that searches to recreate the situations to to show us what we need to fix within ourselves. These situations repeat. I observe this with myself. So if I can talk about my own qualities, I've always observed myself a lot. To observe this helps you. I remember that there were certain situations that I can't face well. And every time that there's a new situation that's similar, I find myself in the same state. But what is this telling me? If I really search to listen to what it's saying, it's telling me that, okay, I shouldn't have live this situation, or is it saying to me that I need to learn to live this well? I believe in the second option because I've tried the first option. And it doesn't work. Because the more that you take away the symptoms, the stronger the symptom returns. I'm not sure about the Western medicine in terms of the definition of an illness, but in the Tibetan medicine, that which I remember, because I don't know that much about Tibetan medicine, illness comes from a disequilibrium, or like body's not in equilibrium. There's like the three humours are not in equilibrium. Then there's an illness when there's not harmony in the body, and then the illness manifests through its symptoms. When we have the symptoms in our mind, what is the alarm of the mind? Suffering, anxiousness, anxiety, sadness, anger, nervousness. These are all symptoms that manifest, that's saying that you're doing something that's not good for you. There's something wrong. There's something something not in harmony here. And unfortunately, we point outside ourselves and we don't look inside ourselves. We search for the person that's creating this for us outside of ourselves, not inside. Yeah, because we think if we're not in this situation, I'm not going to feel like this again. But the reality is, based on our own experience, that we change our experience. And this, if we change our experience, this state finishes or not. The most difficult thing is often the conditions within inside ourselves. Okay. Okay, so all of these emotions within inside ourselves. Okay, sorry guys, lost that. So here we need to, it's important to remind ourselves to be aware with consciousness that there is an alarm within ourselves that rings. And when I'm in a certain situation, and inevitably within that situation, I'm not talking about difficult situations, any situation that we live is a mirror. Because I live that situation through myself. And through that situation I see myself. I don't know if this is clear. I'm going to say it better. When we see each other in this moment, to see to see ourselves within another person. We just think that we just think that we just think that we're seeing another person. So if you ask, have you seen Lama? Everybody will say yes. And if you ask another person, what Lama have you seen? And everybody was going to say, okay, you've seen him, yes. There's one Lama, right? But if we try to describe what we've seen, what we've felt, the description is equal and identical? No, it's not. It can also be very different. The point is that I don't see you. I see my version of you. Like you don't see me, you see your version of me. Because when we see or something or someone, inevitably we perceive that thing through our own filter, through our own emotions, through our own perspectives, through our education that we've had, through the experiences that we had in our life, from our physical state. There's many filters that we have that we can perceive every moment of reality. So that which I see yeah, I see this reality that's around me, but the reality that goes around me is also a mirror, the reality that is within me, my habits, my internal dynamics, my fear, my joy, my stability or lack of stability, all of these characteristics within me, yeah, relate to the world. And is this clear? So what does this mean? The example that I gave earlier, that I look outside and I think finally I feel good, no longer I don't have to live in that situation there. And then the situation changes. And then I think to myself, no, it can't be like this. But fortunately I've done something that helped me a lot. Yeah, I thought I can't escape from this situation another time. Because I need to learn something, you know, I've got these two situations, but I need to learn. And when can I say honestly I've learnt? I took that which I needed to transform. When I can stay in the same situation, similar situation, and not relate to it in the same way. And that's when you've changed. The time which I can stay in a situation where I was suffering that I was bad and not be bad anymore in that situation, and I can relate in a better way. When I can live that situation that I experienced badly in the past, that's the point where you can decide to change the situation. But until you try to escape the situation, you're just gonna find yourself in it again and again. Until the situations that I don't like and I try to escape from these situations, the situations will reappear in many different ways again. And we continue to victimize ourselves. For example, there are people that have a particular difficulty within a couple. It's like a typology to open the parentheses. Like everybody has these issues within a couple, but It's not easy because it's like a mirror within a couple. And the only way to really relate well with another person is to relate well with yourself. Because if I'm nervous, you can't point the finger at the other person and say, okay, that they're nervous. If I'm not satisfied, you can't say, okay, I'm unsatisfied because of the other person. For example, in a couple, which is really a person close to us, it's easier just to point the finger because there's a really simple mechanism, like a banal mechanism, that if we observe ourselves, when we have a sensation of joy or pleasure, what do we do? Do we enjoy that moment and relax in that moment and let ourselves go and really enjoy that moment of pleasure? Or do we ask, why am I happy? To search for the reason that we're happy for that joy. What do we do often? We just enjoy it and that's it. We want to understand why. And when we suffer, when we feel a situation of tension inside ourselves, what do we often do? Do we look inside ourselves to try to resolve this, or do we ask, why am I bad? Also, when a person comes to speak to me, when they've had a difficult situation, a big moment of suffering or difficulty, very often, the most normal question is like, why has this happened to me, Lama? And I say, I don't know. It's not difficult. The question isn't why has this happened. The question is, what should you do with what you have? In the present moment, what can we do? Yeah, because we can find like 2,000 hypotheses as to why something happened, and it's never going to be true. Because it's very complicated how reality appears. So don't ask why. How do we deal with this? We have this tendency when we're not good. We want to understand why we're not well based on. Yeah, I want to find a narrative based on our current situation. Yeah, external to ourselves. Can we see this process within ourselves, that we look outside ourselves when there's a problem? But how many times has there been a certain thing inside ourselves and we can't find like a really evident reason for it? It happens, doesn't it? And if you haven't, eventually you will feel this. I remember an attitude that's a bit absurd. Unfortunately, it's like this. When there's a really strong sofferenza, like, for example, when somebody kills somebody or something really difficult or ugly, it's like the more that we feel like the more that the more that we feel guilty, the more that we feel better.
che in un atto di violenza ha manifestato il suo malessere e come posso accoglierla e trasformarla affinché questo non avvenga più. No, il punto è io ti devo punire.
Okay, so yeah, I'm sorry guys, I missed that. I need to...
Colpevole per quello che è successo, più o meno sono a posto, in parte, cosa che non è vero.
Okay, it's just kind of using guilt and punishment here.
Di cercare il colpevole.
Oh yeah, we need to find like the guilty person or the thing guilty, the reason.
Solo che
It's just that
quando io non sto bene,
when I'm not good
cerco la ragione.
and I try to find the reason for this,
Difficilmente troverò la ragione, perché
but
la
it's
ragione
difficult to find the exact reason for this because it doesn't exist.
è un insieme di innumerevoli cose messe.
It's what exists is like many things together.
Il nostro stato fisico,
We have our physical state,
abbiamo le nostre esperienze passate,
we have our past
abbiamo
experiences,
quello che gli altri fanno.
we have the
Vedete,
experiences that
quello
other
che
people
viviamo
do.
al momento presente
The thing that
è
we live in this moment
risultato
is the result
delle
of
cause, ossia delle nostre proprie scelte,
many
pensieri,
causes and
azioni,
thoughts
interazioni,
and
avventure
interactions in the past
che si vanno a sommare con le condizioni interne ed esterne
that
del
interact with the current conditions in within the present. The conditions include our choices, our thoughts, our current state of physical health. These mix with the interactions that mix who are also in the present moment. Together with all of this, it creates the moment that we live. But the really important thing, the point that I want to get to here is that we have the tendency to ask, why am I living this? And to find the cause external to ourselves, when instead the cause outside doesn't exist the way that we live independently of ourselves. It's, for example, if I had different emotions, the world would appear to me in a different way. I remember that I read this article from a studio, this article that had this studio in Inglaterra. They had this studio, this research about the human contact, the conclusion that they came to based on all these different experiments there was that us humans, judge we aren't very able to discern what we're okay, so she gave this example. They did different experiments, but one of the experiments, the day
di lavoro mi dice guarda lascia stare un po' il laboratorio, erano già tipo le 10-11 di sera, dice andiamo al pub in Inghilterra.
Okay, just giving an example of this person. Okay, he's giving an example. They went to this pub, these two people, and they were talking. At a certain point, this woman started to feel a certain heat within inside herself in this pub. Just giving an example here, guys. And she thought, do I like this man? But I'm not aware of it. So she felt this heat within her body. So she got a second beer. They got an appointment to see each other another time. Okay, so when she got home, she realized that she had the beginning of influenza. So if I had this symptom If I had this symptom in a different situation, I would think it was a different, something different. Yeah, but when we always search for a justification within ourselves, basically. When we perceive the world through insatisfaction, we ask ourselves, why aren't we good? Oh, because I don't have this, or I don't have this, or I don't have this. We have this like filter of being abandoned or not being loved, or this filter of not having faith in another person, or filter of having all this pain within inside us. We've got all these different filters. The point is that when these particular symptoms manifest, in the majority of cases, it's not because there's something that's not going well for us externally. It's coming instead because there's a conflict within ourselves that is not that has not been looked after, that's manifesting. And that situation is an opportunity for us to understand and see this. And Pabonka Rinpoche, the teacher of Rinpoche, okay, so he said that our mental poisons are easy to eliminate when they manifest. So like poison that you can find in our blood, it's easy to eliminate when it manifests in our, like there's a boil on our skin. At that point it's easy to eliminate. So if the poison doesn't manifest, you can't heal it. Like when our fear, anger, anxiety, all of these states, when they manifest, it's because something inside that we need to affront, to redirect ourselves. I'm convinced that before we can like affront the illness, I'm just checking to see if you understand something here. The point is that one of the necessities in order to heal the illness is to accept it. For example, the first point is like, okay, there is this illness, because until I stay in our ego and say like there's not something here, I'm not going to take this. I see like this. First, we need to accept. I see people that don't have a good state of health, to the point that we negate that there is an actual illness there. For like a person that has like a dependence with a substance, what's the first point? What's the first pass to get off this like addiction? To accept that you have an addiction. That's the first point. So the first point to heal yourself from an illness is to accept. It's not accept doesn't mean to like subdue to it. So in this moment there is, and I'm aware of it. When we see within us our pain, our traumas, etc. We need to be aware of these and direct ourselves to heal them. Let's do another example. Let's make another example. Let's imagine that at a certain point, okay, so I've got a bad arm. I have a problem with my arm. This arm got bad because it's not important, but like now it's bad. Okay, so and I can't heal this bad arm. Every now and again I get this like scab on my arm. So if I'm walking in it, like the scab rubs, and every time I touch this scab it hurts, and I'm walking, and then somebody touches me whilst I'm walking on my arm. Why do I feel bad? The fact that you touch my arm, or the fact that I have a scab on my arm? The cause, what is it? It's the scab on my arm. The fact that you touch my arm is a condition. If I didn't have the scab, you wouldn't have hurt me if you touched me. You can also like touch me in a peaceful way and it can like make me bad because that person didn't know about the scab. So to like heal the scab, it's like I see the scab, it's here, I know that it's there. At the same time, and I'm aware of this, and now I know where to how to walk. And I'm aware that if somebody touches me, I'm gonna. And I'm aware that if somebody touches me, I'm aware that the cause of that is not the person who touches me, but actually my scab. Okay. Sorry, yeah, I need to heal. So I need to heal the scab. I need to be aware of it. I need to pass medicine, etc. When the pain comes up inside us, I think that in most times, it's because there's like a wound or within us that's not been resolved inside us. And what is the symptom? Like we started off by saying that the symptom is an alarm. So when it manifests that there's something within inside us, there's an alarm that says that we need to heal, we need to cure within inside us. The difficulty that we have is that we don't know how to heal. But the first step that helps a lot is to be aware. To be aware, but like the scab or the wound on our arm. And the moment that you see your wound, to generate consciousness, this starts the healing process. And also like longer processes or shorter processes. There's the point that we can really take the opportunity. There we can take the opportunity to stop pointing our finger outside ourselves and say, okay, it's your fault. But you are a condition. You've touched my arm, yes. But the pain that I feel is not caused by you that touched my hand. It's caused by the fact that I have this wound that I haven't healed. So I search for my arm not to be touched, but I need to heal the wound. But if we, instead of doing this, we're not aware of the wound, and can keep pointing our fingers at other people, we're actually going to reinforce the wound, and the wound becomes even like more infectious. It becomes stronger, bigger. I think we've all seen this. It's a little bit like conflict. When a conflict is born with another person, there's a moment in which it's small, and it's like easier to affront, even though if it's like a bit annoying. Like I've said many times before, one thing is to stop a war between two people, or a conflict between two people, like a verbal conflict. Another thing is to construct harmony and peace. They're two different things. To construct harmony and peace is much more difficult, but if there's a small conflict between two people, we try not to nurture the conflict. But what does it mean when the conflict is not, we leave the conflict alone? It expands. It seems always bigger until it's like, and then we can't ever relate to that person again because of this conflict. And the point isn't that it's because of the other person, this conflict, is because we need to heal something within ourselves. When there's like a wound that's not within equilibrium, that's not good, until we don't see it, until we don't cure it, the alarm is always going to ring louder. And now I'm going to share a really vague theory, and in my opinion it's not correct, but I'm not sure if I should share with you, but I'm going to share part of my theory. I've seen that, not always, but every now and again this works. If there's something that's not well in our body, the fact to be aware of this, to be aware of it, to search what's wrong, this already has an effect that it makes it better within you. I know that doctors can't cure for you, but you have to change things within yourself. But when you go to a doctor with a habit to see that illness, to affront this illness, this act within yourself already has a healing. Okay, so yeah, if we don't do this, eventually the alarm's going to ring again. So this mechanism is incredible. When there's not something in equilibrium within us, with our mind, or within relationships with other people, the alarm rings. And the more we ignore the alarm, the louder the alarm rings. The first thing is to be aware of the alarm. Okay, I understand. Okay, this is the alarm, and I do it within time, but in my opinion, this is a huge power. Therefore, we need to remember that The world inside of me is like a mirror. This doesn't mean it's not that like I'm seeing everything wrong. No. A person can like be violent or aggressive towards me. See, there's like also like there are bad situations. The issue is that very often we project our experience that we've generated in our life. So I put myself in a situation where it hurt my arm. But I can't keep projecting that my arm's hurting because of a situation. I need to heal it. The point isn't to say who did this to me, it's to actually heal. One of the beautiful things for me to see is people that we have in front of us, the situations that we have in front of us, the really difficult ones, these are the ones that can like really teach us something. In our lineage, in lineage of Atisha, certain big masters, when they had like a state of no situation would like break their equilibrium. They could like maintain their equilibrium, their patience, their state of equilibrium and health in any situation that was around them. At that point, what did they do? They tried to search for situations more extreme to see if there was still any like anger or anything within themselves. So they searched for like more extreme situations to see if they could see within themselves like any conflict or wound or something that they needed to like heal that they couldn't see within a certain situation. So my advice is not to like, we don't need to search for difficult situations. Okay, to the point where like nothing disturbs your inner peace, then you can go search for something to see if, like Atisha. We want to walk, we want to... So a person that is ready to take the opportunity. Okay, so what? Okay, so he's saying that our greatest friends are the people that show us the mirror to ourselves. Okay, let's first see our wound, our heal, to be able to heal. And like this, we can see it's a process to heal, like slowly, slowly. But I'm aware that I have a wound, and stop pointing the finger. Because every time I point outside myself, I'm just reinforcing. This is what I want to share with you today. Let's do our dedication.
Lama kutse rapten chi namkara tinle chochur gepadang losan tempe drume sasumgi drove munsela tato ne gyur chi kewa kuntu yanda lamadang dralme cheki pela longche ching Sadan lamge yönten rabzone dorje change kopan yurtoba sho nimo dele tsendele nime kuyan delek shin Nintsen takto delek pe kuncho sumke chinge lop kuncho sumke ngodrubo tsol kuncho sumke trashi shun. All'alba o al tramonto, di notte o durante il giorno, possano i tre gioielli concederci le loro benedizioni, possano aiutarci ad ottenere tutte le realizzazioni e cospargere il sentiero della nostra vita con molti segni di buon auspicio. Buona giornata a tutti, grazie a tutti.